participants. Welcome to Day 5, Session 6, the last session of this 1 week national level online faculty skill development program on Let's Communicate Effectively, Transforming Communication Skills. In this session, we are going to talk on the last two skills, thinking and speaking. Now, definitely there may be some of you who are wondering why speaking has been kept at the end, and thinking and speaking, why they are at the end, why not somewhere in between. We will talk on that. Let me just take brief review of what we have seen in this course so far. We started with learning about communication as a human system. We saw communication in business context. We focused on some of the barriers of communication and the solutions. We saw how nonverbal communication plays a very important role in communication. We saw how listening is an essential part of transforming our communication skills. We saw also reading and writing and what vital role reading also plays in transforming communication skills. We are going to end this program by knowing one of the unknown skill, that is thinking, and the other which is well known, but most of us are not perfect in that, but actually which is the exhibition of your communication skills, and that is speaking skill. So let's begin with this session. As usual, let me take a brief review to understand the objectives of today's session, and then we will begin with our actual contents. So as usual, we are going to start with first knowing the structure of this particular sequence. I mean, as we are at the end of the program and as we are at the end of last session, let us understand why I have kept this sequence LRWTS, why speaking is kept at the last. As I told, I'll talk on that. Then we will see thinking as a skill and what are the different steps to think in English. Then we will move to effective speaking. We will know why effective speaking is important and why it is needful, for whom. Speaking as a skill, we will focus on that, how it is a skill. Why are we not effective speakers? The reasons behind inability of most of the people in speaking. Effective public speaking, we are focusing only on one aspect of speaking, and we are going to talk on the general strategies and techniques of effective speaking. Alright, so let me first give some justifications or justify this particular sequence. Now we have seen that any language is learned. The 4 language learning skills are listening, speaking, reading and writing. As speaking comes after listening, it's in its second position, but in our program we have taken it at the end, because speaking, as I have just said earlier, is one of the exhibition, is one of the skills, one of the ways of exhibiting your knowledge, writing being the other. And to be effective speaker, we have to first master the previous 4 skills. That is, we must be a very good listener, we must be a very good reader, we must be a very good writer, as well as we must be able to think effectively in English. Then only we will become effective speaker. That is why speaking is kept at the end. Also, usually, I hope you agree with this, that usually when we prefer any of those 4-5 skills or the activities, we keep speaking at the end, right? We are ready to listen, we are ready to read, we are ready to write, even we are ready to think. But when time comes, can you speak for 2 minutes? Most of the people lag behind. So they give it last preference, speaking last. Tell us anything else. Maybe because of that speaking I have kept last, so that we understand it better. Speaking is felt as challenging, is taken as challenging. Is it so? Let us see. Okay, so let me begin with a reflection spot itself. What here you are supposed to do? Thinking. Just think how or in what way thinking helps to develop our English. How thinking helps to develop our English. Think on this. Yeah, I'm going to take longer pauses now to give you a chance to think and respond. Tell me in chat section how thinking, or in what way thinking is helpful skill to develop our English. You can tell me in case of vocabulary, in case of anything that you think. Does thinking help to develop our English? In what way? Okay, so I hope you have at least thought over, and many of you have posted in chat section as well. Let's move ahead and now tell me. Now, when I told you to think about how thinking is effective and useful for developing our English, which language you thought in just now? Which language you thought in? Was that your mother tongue or English? Tell honestly. Tell in the chat section whether you thought in English or in your mother tongue. Okay. So some are saying mother tongue, some are saying English. Those who are saying English, very good, appreciate. Those who are saying in mother tongue, all right, no problem, let us go ahead. But be true to yourself. I'm deliberately taking longer pauses so that I give you sufficient time, and let us get engaged and actually get benefited through this discussion. Alright, so those who said that they thought in mother tongue, or those who said they thought in English, there is one more surprise for them. Let me know now, actually did you use any language, or you just thought in symbols, pictures, images or actions? That is, most of the time when we think, we do not think in words, we do not think in sentences, we think in some pictures, some actions, some images or some symbols. For example, suppose you are thinking now, what will you do once you go home? What do you think? How you think that? You do not think in words, you simply imagine yourself at home in the kitchen preparing tea. So when we think in pictures, we think in images, we think in symbols. We do not think in sentences in most of the cases. And that is the key. That thinking is a, let us say, picturesque thing. Thinking is a just exhibition of actions. How will you react to a particular person? You just think and you imagine yourself, you visualize yourself. We think usually in that way. Alright, and even if sometimes if we think in language, think in words, most of the time we think in second way. Right? When we say that we are thinking, I am thinking, most of the time we think in symbols, pictures, images and actions. And even if we think in words, we think in our mother tongue. Most of the time when we are preparing the sentences, preparing some of the responses to something, someone, we think in our mother tongue. Can you tell me here now why we usually prefer mother tongue to think? Again, I'm going to take a pause and going to give you sufficient time to think and respond. When thinking, why do we prefer our mother tongue? Yeah, go on putting. Why is it so? Why not, even if we tell that we have to think in other tongue or other language, target language, why we prefer thinking in our mother tongue? Okay, so I hope you have come up with some responses, and yeah, I can see even some people are putting their responses, their views in chat box, in comment section as well. Let us see. I hope you must have come up with these common reasons, because thinking in our mother tongue is our natural habit. We naturally, when we think in our mother tongue. It feels very easy, right? It looks very easy for us. We feel very comfortable and we feel connected when we are thinking in our mother tongue, in our native language. That is okay. That is fine for general purposes. But to improve our English, we need to stop one particular process which we have developed because of our habit of thinking in our mother tongue. And that is, when we try to speak in English, we first think what I am going to speak, and that thinking, as it is natural, as it is easy and comfortable, takes place in our mother tongue, in our native language. So to be effective English speaker, first we have to stop this habit. That is, we need to stop translating in our brain, translating in our mind. That is the purpose of this first section of this session, that is thinking for improving our English. So thinking as a skill, that is what we are going to see here now. Look at this quote now. Think before you speak. What do you mean by this again? Why is it said that you should think before you speak? Yeah, the actual interpretation is you should think before you speak. It means before you speak something to someone, you have to think so that you don't hurt that person. Yeah, that is fine. But why thinking? It means, this particular quote tells the importance of thinking. It emphasizes the importance of thinking, that before speaking, you should think. And that is the importance of thinking in case of becoming effective speaker of English. It means that thinking is universal process. Like thinking we do almost every time. You cannot find yourself sitting idle and thoughtless. As I told, I guess, in my first session, right? We cannot be thoughtless. We always are busy in thinking. And what kind of thinking we do? We do think in pictures, symbols, images, and structures. We don't think in sentences, or even if we go on thinking in sentences, that is in our mother tongue. Right? So if you are sitting idle, you are listening, you are thinking. If you are watching movie, you are thinking. Even if you are attending lectures or attending sessions, you are thinking. As we have seen. Why? Because listening expects 25% of our mental engagement. 75% of that is free, busy in thinking. Free to think on anything else. Even if we are sleeping, we are thinking because we are dreaming. So it is most of the time we spend in thinking. Everything that appears in this world was first thought over and then came into existence. I hope you agree with this, and the people who are from literature background can connect it to a literary theory of imitation. That is, everything, whether it is a monument, whether it is a drawing, whether it is a machine, whether it is a particular, let us say, building design, anything that exists in this world actually has been thought over first. It was in somebody's mind, it was in somebody's thinking, and then it has come into existence. So everybody, every time, go on thinking. And as this is also a passive skill, it is most neglected. We again feel that thinking is a natural. Thinking is a natural process, and it is our habit. It is a natural process. Even if we are sitting idle, we go on thinking. So it is natural. We say, why not to use that natural process a bit consciously to develop our language skill, particularly to develop our English. Let me tell you, this is the best way to develop your English. Thinking in English, and that is why this is now, you may not find it in some of the syllabus, or you rarely find that thinking is talked over as a language learning skill, particularly for speaking, developing our English skills. It can be a great aid in developing our English competence if it is utilized structurally, and this is what we are going to see in this session. Now, for developing English speaking skill, translating in mind or brains is the biggest problem, and we are going to see how to overcome those. Let me tell you what happens usually. As English is a second language and we are not the native speaker of English, what we do, we decide our responses, we decide our sentences in our brain, in our mind before we speak, and that structure is decided in our mother tongue. We think in mother tongue and then we try to translate that. The translation is there somewhere, a machine of translation is there somewhere in our brain, and we first think and then we translate and we try to speak. So it takes longer time, as well as sometimes it is resulted in mother tongue influence, MTI, right? So when we speak, we are taken as if we are speaking in our mother tongue. Maybe because of the tone, maybe because of the stress pattern, as well as maybe because of the word patterns that we are using. To avoid that, we should stop translating in our brain. That is in simple terms. Let me give you the example which I usually give in class. What is that? We want to develop our English, but we are thinking in our mother tongue and trying to speak in English, it will not help to improve your English. Like there is a juicer, you want to drink apple juice, but you are putting oranges in the juicer. Now putting oranges in the juicer will not definitely give you apple juice. What you need to do, what you need to put in the juicer, you need to put apples. So only you are going to get apple juice. In the same way, if you want to improve your English, if you want you to be effective speaker of English, first put English in your brain, in your juicer, then definitely it will give you good English. With this, let us talk on some of the strategies now to think in English. Alright, I told you think in English, and I guess almost 15 to 20 times I must have uttered this sentence. But how to do this? Right, there are certain strategies. One of that is start with single words. Right, you simply start with single words. Whatever object you see in front of you, you go on just naming that. It's a mobile, it's a table, it's a pinboard, it's a fan, it's a table, it's desktop, it's monitor, it's mobile. Just go on. Let us say the man is coming. Right, this is a tree, huge building. Go on just thinking in single words or single shorter phrases. Always just you label all the objects around you. That is the first stage to start thinking in English. Second, think with a phrase in your mind like a mantra song for whole day. You know, sometimes we chant a particular mantra throughout the day, or in the beginning of the day we listen a particular song and we just go on chanting that song throughout the day. It happens. In the same way, just think with a single phrase in your mind. You decide a phrase like effective public speaking. This is just simply, I'm going to be effective speaker. Right? Developing English. Developing speaking. Speaking is a skill. Speaking as a skill. Any phrase you decide and just go on repeatedly chanting the same throughout the day. This will help you. This will, train your brain to think in English. Next, listen to English podcasts, listen to English songs, at least at background, because that will help at least the sounds to enter in your ears. I guess you must have this experience, and this is my recent experience, right? When in the morning we keep playing on a mobile phone some of the shloks early in the morning, and that is our usual habit, some of the spiritual songs. And one day we observed that when we were chanting those shlokas, my son came and he was also chanting those shlokas accurately. And we wondered how he came to know, how he learnt those, because he used to listen. Even if he was not consciously listening, the sounds were entering in his ears, and that helped him to recollect. Same way, listen to English podcasts. Deliberately play the songs, or just start a English news at the background, and you just go on doing your work. That helps you to develop your thinking, convert your brain in a habit of thinking. Next, think your next action conversation in English. What you are going to do next? What you are going to speak next? You have to think in English. Like next action, say for example, after this session, what you are going to do? You think in English, after this session, I will go and have lunch with my colleagues, with my friends. Have the next action. Or suppose after this you are going to meet someone. Decide what you are going to have the conversation. How will you begin the conversation? How will you greet? How will you ask that? Usually we go on thinking. So think that in English. That is the technique. Then narrate your day. At the end of the day, sit at one place and just tell to yourself what you did throughout the day, and that you have to do in English. Next, make up conversations. This is very interesting. What you're supposed to do, you have to just imagine yourself playing two roles. Like suppose you are going to go and meet your boss, you are going to meet your HOD, you are going to meet your principal, and you are going to have some conversation. So practice that conversation here in advance. You play the role of yourself, you also play the role of the listener, principal, boss, teacher. So you tell yourself, hello sir, I want to say this. You change the role, you say, okay, welcome, sit here and let us talk on this. You say something, your boss. Both the roles you are supposed to play and conversate, and just go on this thinking in your mind. This definitely helps to develop our English. Now sometimes we do not get the exact word to describe something. In that case, we should not stuck. When we are thinking, we may not get words and we should not get stuck. We should paraphrase. That is, suppose I want to tell that I need a marker, but suppose I'm not getting the word marker. So what I'll do, where is that, something like pen with which we write on whiteboard, that is it is in various colors, I'm not getting the word, and you go on describing and you will definitely get finally that marker. Or even if you don't get, no problem, but when you are paraphrasing, you have used actually more words. That is very important. So think like this, get creative, use English dictionary. Most of the time what we do, we see meaning in our mother tongue. No, unless it is very difficult word, don't go for your native dictionaries, go to English dictionaries, because when you look for a word, you read the next part of the description of that word, you get 2 to 3 more new words, again you go and look that, and after let us say 100 words, you see 100 words in dictionary, it automatically develops your vocabulary and it helps you to think in English. This is again very important. It will happen that you decide to think in English, but you may not be able to concentrate. You have to do it consciously. You have to stop translating consciously. Even if you are getting words in your mother tongue when you are speaking, do not use those words. Wait, strive for getting words in English or paraphrase, but do not translate. Now, how to do this? How to remind yourself that you have to think in English? It is very, very difficult. It happens usually that you decide something and you forget immediately. For that, you have to do this. Use some reminders. For example, you look at your watch and you 10 times tell that when you look at it, this watch is nothing but thinking in English. So you have to tell 10 to 20 times, automatically it gets associated. Or what is the thing which is frequently visited by every one of us? That is our mobile phone. Just have a screensaver, design a screensaver, think in English and put it your screensaver of mobile and your laptops and other gadgets. So whenever you visit, it will remind you think in English. Or you can assign one of your friends, assign one of the objects which you look at always. Or you can simply write on the paper, think in English and put in front of you or put at the place which you visit frequently. Anyhow, you should be reminded for how many days? How many days you should do this? You should do it for 21 days. Right? If you do it continuously for 21 days, let me tell you, that becomes your habit. And after 21 days, even if you do not want, you will start thinking in English. You will keep thinking in English. Even if, even you will get angry in English. Right? You will dream in English. And as I tell always that once you start dreaming in English, you are on the right path to develop your English and develop your speaking skill. Right? When you start dreaming in English, that you are dreaming and you are conversating in dream in English. So that is the perfect peak of your English development. And I have experienced that. And that is why I'm telling. Alright, so use reminders, mobile screens and screensavers and so on. Now, assign specific time every day for thinking in English. Like we have assigned some time for listening, speaking, reading and writing, for thinking as well. And diary writing, when you're writing diary, definitely you just think what you did throughout the day, what you will do tomorrow, what are your views on a particular specific topic and current affairs. You definitely think and write. So there also you have to think in English. This will help you, it is helping you in two ways, thinking developing as well as writing development. And finally, very important, you should think aloud. Like we read aloud, you think aloud. A monologue which you have to utter to yourself in front of the mirror, in the mobile screen, when there is nobody around, of course. Otherwise, there will be problem. Or you tell to your family members that I'm thinking aloud and don't worry. Right, I'm all right. But think aloud. Think aloud all your thoughts. This helps, to get you words. It helps to improve your pronunciation. It helps you to give confidence. And most importantly, when you think aloud or even you think in English, the unnecessary thought will never come in your mind. What is that? When we are sitting idle and when we are thinking in our mother tongue, we get lot of things, lot of thoughts, and most of them are unnecessary, not useful, unuseful. So when you tell yourself that you have to think in English, so first let us say thing is that you have to think in English. The filter is thinking in English. Second filter, you don't get the words. So unwanted thoughts will run away because you don't have words for them, and you will focus only on the useful thoughts. So thinking in English is useful in both the ways. Refining your personality, developing your speaking skills, English skills. I hope these strategies will definitely work with you. Try this. Definitely you will find them useful. With this, let us move to effective speaking now. What is effective speaking and how to develop speaking skills? Again, let me just start with talking about the importance of effective speaking, why we should learn speaking effectively. And let me just tell you the same quote. Why is it so? As given by Robert Frost, half of the world is composed of people who have something to say and they cannot. We have to just focus on this. And most of us are in this particular half world. We have a lot of things to tell. We have a lot of things to share, but we cannot because of our lack of our speaking skills. That is why we are going to focus. It is a great way of expressing ourselves. What is that? It is speaking is the great way of expressing ourselves. If we want to express, we express with the help of our speaking. And when we speak in our mother tongue, it is fine. But when we want to express in professional context, when we want to express in business context, when we want to express our ideas, which will be very useful, we know we do not do that because of lack of effective speaking. And that is why it is very essential for us to develop our speaking skills. Be in any profession, you must have to speak. General, public speaking, or professional presentations, sooner or later. And only speaking and writing, we have seen last time, only speaking and writing, they prove a person as knowledgeable, learned or not. That is, how will you come to know a person is a very good person? How will you know that a person is a very knowledgeable person? It is very, very, less times that we understand that person is a effective or knowledgeable person by looking at that person. Or it may be wrong also. A person is looking very handsome, but not at all knowledgeable. Looks definitely will not help there to check the knowledge. What helps? The speaking and the writing. If you have read some articles written by that person and you see, you will feel, yes, very, very good and very knowledgeable, very learned person. And most of the time, even not all the great successful people write. They speak definitely. And through their speaking, we come to know how much knowledgeable and learned person he or she is. And that is why very important to develop our speaking skills. Even if, I have most of my friends, colleagues who have a lot of knowledge with them. They have tremendous knowledge, but they cannot express because of lack of English. They cannot express because of some of the problems on part of language. So they are not considered, their views are not considered because they are not expressing themselves effectively. Then speaking defines or decides personality. Of course, your way of speaking, your knowledge, your speaking style defines what kind of personality you are or decides what kind of personality you are going to be. Next, effective speaking play a vital role in your career growth. Would you like to grow in your career at whatever stage you may be right now? Everybody wants to grow. Speaking is going to be one of the very useful will play very useful role in developing or growing in our further career. Who should learn this effective speaking? We cannot say that effective speaking is to be learnt by XYZ person only. It is everybody who is involved in profession, in any profession, has to learn effective speaking. There is no profession where you say that it only requires or which does not require speaking skill. Even if you are working in some of the supporting companies and you are working at back office, definitely you have to come together with your colleagues and speak. That is also a situation of speaking, public speaking situation context. So everybody must know how to speak effectively. That is the importance of speaking. Let's move ahead and let me give you another reflection spot here. Take care, just listen carefully and respond in chat section. What you are supposed to tell me, which statement do you support? Statement number 1, effective speaking is a natural talent or it is a skill. Think on it and then tell me. Effective speaking is a natural talent or effective speaking is a skill. The effective speakers are inborn talented or they are trained. They learn the skill of effective speaking like other skills. What is your option? You have to choose from these two only. 1 or 2. What do you think? It is a natural ability, natural talent, or it is a skill? Anybody can learn that skill. Put in chat section. I'm going to take longer pause again. Just put 1 or 2. 1, 2. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, some are saying 1, that is, it is a natural talent. Many are saying skill. It is a skill. Yes, because as sir may be telling that speaking is a skill, it means it is a skill. But what do you think you have to put? 1 or 2? You have to just choose between 1 or 2. Natural talent or a skill. Alright, so let us see. Fine. Okay, I add one more option now. And now tell me. So whatever your response was so far, it's okay. 1 or 2, no problem. I add one more and that is both. Now tell me. Effective speaking is a natural talent, effective speaking is a skill, or it is combination of both. It is natural talent as well as it is a skill. Now write 1, 2 or 3. Again you have to tell 1, 2 or 3. Just put in chat box. Now I am sure the response will be 3. It is both, right? It is a natural talent as well as it is a somewhat skill to develop effective speaking, right? So let me tell you that why these, when there was no option, third option, you chose between these two and most of you thought it as a natural talent or most of you thought it as a skill, right? No problem. But when the option came both, most of you are choosing this now. And the problem is when you choose both, you are at safer side. How? Let me tell you. Suppose you prepare a speech and you give a presentation, you give that speech, you deliver that speech, that presentation, and you are not much effective. Somewhat you are not satisfied with that and you learned from the audience responses that you are not effective there. So you are ready to justify your speech by telling that effective speaking is natural talent and I don't have that talent. I tried by learning it, tried by knowing it as a skill, but it requires some natural talent. So I lack that natural talent. That's why I'm not effective speaker, being safer side. That is why do not think at all that effective speaking is both. Effective speaking is a skill. It is 100% is a skill. Because everybody speaks, but only skillful, trained people can be effective. And the skill is like other skills, any other skill which can be learnt by the people. The difference is just one person may learn it fast, the other person bit late. Right? A person who learns it fast may use it more effectively. A person who learns it slowly may grow slowly, but definitely that person will be also effective. Right? So effective speaking is a skill. There are very, very few. Let me tell you, they are in numbers. You can count 1 and 2 enough, who may be having natural talent and they are with God's gift. They are just can be counted on numbers, even not in percentage, right? But for rest of us, it is a skill and we have to develop. When I say skill, it means learnable skill. With this, let's move ahead and see how it is a skill and how to develop it. What are the myths about speaking now? The wrong assumptions. First, Effective speaking is an inborn talent. We feel he is a very good and effective speaker. He is a very good entertainer. He is a very good comedian. His dialogues are very perfect. Why? Because he is inborn. He is a natural. No, it is not inborn talent. It is a skill. And fear of public speaking is negative and undesirable. Why you are not able to speak in public? Why you are not able to speak in English with your colleagues? Because you are afraid, and when you fear, you should not do anything. No, it is not like that. Fear, we are going to see how it is actually useful for developing our speaking skills. So it is not negative. Fear is definitely usable. It is going to be useful. And a recent survey found that the number one fear amongst Americans is public speaking. No, Americans, they are speakers of English, right? But their number one fear is their public speaking. They find it very difficult to express themselves in front of public, right? Even if English is their native language. So we need not to worry. We are learning English, first achievement, and then we are speaking, second great achievement. Alright, so why are we not effective speakers? Most of the time, this statement you must have read somewhere, that if the audience is sleeping, someone has to wake up the speaker. That is why audience are getting bored, why audience are not attentive, why audience are not getting something fruitful out of the session, why they are sleeping, because the speaker is not effective. Speaker is making them sleep. Speaker is making them get bored, and that is why we have to be effective speaker, right? To keep the audience awake and listen to us. Now, why we are not effective speakers? Number one, we label it as a natural ability, which we have discussed. We say that speaking is natural ability. I don't have, and we don't develop, we don't pay attention to that. Second, what is lack of confidence and motivation? We are not able to speak effectively in English because of lack of confidence. Number one, why there is lack of confidence? Because there is no experience, there is no practice. And why is it so? Because we don't have motivation. That is, we are not either motivated by someone, or we do not get self-motivated, intrinsic and extrinsic. Right? Nobody tells us to speak, or even if somebody tells, you learn in the class, you watch the movies, you watch, let us say, shows, you watch the programs, you feel very good for that particular period of time, but after that you do not try on your own. So lack of motivation, lack of will to develop to be effective speakers. Next, third reason is fear of getting negatively evaluated. That is, I use this particular phrase always, that is, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. That is, what others will say, what others will feel if I make any mistake when I'm speaking. That is fear of getting negatively evaluated, right? If I go on the stage and if I make some grammatical mistakes, some pronunciation mistakes, some vocabulary mistakes, or if I give some different information and if I fail, if I could not remember, what will happen? The people will laugh at me. So it's better to sit safe at the place. No, it is not. That sitting at the place is not for what you are supposed to learn. Right? So do not get afraid of negatively evaluated. We are going to see very interesting quote at the end of this session, which will definitely talk on this fear and not getting negatively evaluated. Next, lack of practice and experience. Just I told, we do not practice, we have very less practice, and we don't have experience of speaking in front of public, and of course we don't have experience of speaking in English. We only speak in English. Now let me tell you, if you are giving as a student, if you are giving orals, that is not a speaking. That is just as, giving exams, facing exams. In the same way, if you are teaching, a teacher teaching in class and completely using English, that is also not speaking. That is one of the way of delivering your knowledge, and you don't have other option. That is why you are very, using that. So I find this usually all the technical teachers, they're very perfect in their technical terms, right? They explain very well. But when time comes to express in general meeting and presentations and discussions, forums, they are not able to speak because they know only that technical jargon and they go on using that only. They don't practice it outside. As a student, you are also supposed to practice outside. Practice in general communication. Take part in conversations. Take part in speeches. Take part in competitions. That is the only solution. Then lack of bringing variety in speaking. Yeah, this is very interesting again. What is this? It is lack of bringing variety in speaking. That is, I have been teaching communication skills for last 12 years and I'm using the same notes, I'm using the same sequence, I'm using the same examples, I'm using the same, everything same. That is not going to help me to develop my communication skills. Right? I just take those notes and I just go on speaking. I have script as well. I write a script and I go on reading the script. That is not going to help. Every time I have to try something new. Every time I have to begin differently. Every time I have to give different examples. Every time I need to go and present that to the new audience, considering the audience and their need. So bringing variety in your speaking. Speak in class, speak in meetings, speak in presentations, speak when you are actually debating. Everywhere you have to bring the variety. That helps you to develop your speaking skill. As a student as well, you just respond when you are facing the oral. No, when you are doing practicals, you are supposed to speak. When you are in the class, ask the questions to the teachers. When you are friends, 4 or 5 friends coming together, decide for 5 minutes, let us speak in English. That is going to be helpful. Bring variety in your speaking. Right? Once you start with quotes, second time you start with story, then you start directly with the result and giving the examples and so on. So this is one of the techniques. Lack of training, good training. Here I mean in both ways. Lack of availability of good training. That is, there are very few institutes or the organizations which give you training on how to be effective speakers, how to develop your speaking skills, English speaking skills. There are very few. Right? And second thing, we are not trained. We do not take training of effective speaking. We feel that experience only will teach me. Yes, I 100% agree with this. That you read books, you listen people and you take the experience, you try and you become effective speaker. But that will definitely take time. If you really want to be effective speaker in any of the profession you may be, you must get training from some of the authentic training centers, some of the good training centers. You have to find on your own and whichever you believe you are supposed to go and just attend and take it. Right? Because see, of course, anybody can learn driving 4-wheeler. It is as simple as that. 4-wheeler from a friend, driving 4-wheeler learn from a friend, driving 4-wheeler learn from the expert, the training institute. There is difference. There will be difference. Even though both will be driving in perfect way, the person who has learned from the driving institute will definitely have some of the additional information which will be useful in some of the unknown situations, unexpected situations. In the same way, we should get trained. We should get trained from some of the good organizations, institutes available nearby. Okay, so as I told you, fear the biggest enemy. In why we are lagging behind in speaking? Because of the fear. So let us talk something on that and then move ahead. Fear, there are 2 meanings: forget everything and run, which usually we do, or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. Fear is a part of our life. Everybody fears. Even if a great politician giving speech, first time when he starts, he is afraid. An excellent trainer, excellent motivational public speaker also has gone through all those fear. Everybody, all human beings. So they have chosen the second one, face everything and rise, and that's why they have developed themselves so far. And most of us are using this, forget everything and run away. Avoid the situations of speaking. When a boss tells express your views, you say no sir, let someone else do it. When your teacher asks you a question, you know the answer, but you do not utter because you feel afraid of being negatively evaluated. Or sometimes it happens that a teacher asks a question in the class, you know the answer, but you don't dare to raise your hand because of the fear. Unless your teacher asks, you don't respond. Right? Now, let me tell you, fear, as I told, it is not actually the fear or anxiety. See, suppose you are talking in front of subordinates, talking in front of your students, as a teacher, talking in front of, let us say, 10th and 12th students if you are in graduation, talking in front of your workers who are working under you, your team members, being you a team leader. If you are talking in front of subordinates and you are afraid, that fear of speaking means anxiety, and this is the true fear. Here you have to work, definitely. If you are afraid of speaking in front of students, if you are afraid of speaking in front of your team members, you are team leader, or you are afraid of speaking in front of 10th or 12th standard students and you are in graduation now. Yes, this is a fear of public speaking. But talking in front of your colleagues at same post, it is fear of evaluation. There it is not a fear, but here fear of evaluation. You feel that I will express and I will get evaluated and I have to take care that I get positively evaluated. That is not anxiety, that is just a fear of evaluation. And talking in front of superordinates or boss, principal, HOD is fear of judgment, how they will judge. So these are the 3 types of fears, out of which, yes, for these 2 are also important, we should take care, but they are not same. Here fear of judgment, yes, to some extent accepted. Fear of evaluation, that is also correct, but here fear of speaking, or there is no anything. So we are supposed to develop this, we are supposed to work on this, right? When we are speaking in front of subordinates, if we are getting anxious, yes, we really need to work on developing our speaking skills, overcoming our fear. So how to overcome that? What anxiety plays role in developing our English speaking skills. What is anxiety? First, a person can be considered in the state of anxiety if he or she feels frightened, apprehensive, anxious, or if he is trembling on his heart, or his heart is beating rapidly. So these are the symptoms of anxiety, and definitely everybody feels butterflies in the stomach before you speak. That is a part of anxiety, right? So you feel very thirsty, right? Dry throat, that is again the symbol of anxiety, right? So it happens. So let me tell you, there are two types of anxieties: facilitating and debilitating, right? So facilitating anxiety helps in improving our speaking skills, and debilitating anxiety weakens us. That is, when you are anxious, and debilitating anxiety tells you that you are not prepared, you cannot do this, you have very less time to prepare, or you have not done this before. The people are there, your colleagues are going to listen to you, your higher authorities are going to listen to you, how you are going to perform, you may make the mistakes and so on. That is debilitating anxiety, which weakens you, and it makes us lag behind in speaking skill. Most of the time we are prey of this. How it is facilitating anxiety? We are afraid, we are anxious that I have to present in front of my boss, I have to present in front of my colleagues and in front of my students, and facilitate this. I'm going to be effective because 2 days are there. There are still 2 to 3 days, and I get time to develop myself. So that is facilitating anxiety. It actually helps you to improve your performance. Okay, let's go ahead. Effective public speaking. Now, out of all that, when we say speaking skill, this is one form where which is a part of all kind of speaking. Public speaking is a kind of all kinds of speaking, and that is why I have chosen this to just talk on effective English speaking skills. Okay, so types of speakers and presenters. So what are the types of speakers or presenters? The first presenter is the cool presenter. For example, Sandeep Maheshwari, Sonu Sharma, they are the motivational speakers and they are very cool presenters. Can you give me some more examples of such cool presenters? Give me in comment section, give me in chat section. Who are the cool presenters for you? You may be having different names. Tell me what are those. Okay, so fine, all right. So second type is the energetic or hot presenters. Hot in the sense they are very, very energetic, and for me, as per my knowledge, Dr. Vivek Bindra, I guess many of you know him, how energetic and how moving he is when he is giving presentations. So energetic and hot presenters. Give me examples from your side of hot or energetic presenters which you have observed. Okay, right. Now, who is more effective? What do you think? The energetic and hot presenter or the cool presenter? Now definitely it depends your selection, right? For some cool presenters like Sandeep Maheshwari and Sonu Sharma, you feel very effective. Some feel energetic and hot presenter, they are very effective, right? But there should be combination of these two. You should be very cool sometimes, should be very energetic and presenting yourself very effectively. But you should never be third type, that is dull presenters. What is dull presenters? Dull presenter are not knowledgeless. They are knowledgeable, but they are safe presenters. They do not want to change their tone. They do not want to be energetic. They do not want to go with much details. They have their knowledge and they want to express that knowledge. That's all. Right? But they bore the audience. Now don't give me examples of dull presenters here. Just keep those examples with you. Just learn that you should not be dull presenters. So let's move ahead and see the public speaking as a part of other kinds of speaking as well, whether it is in group discussion, interview, meetings or presentations. It is same like public speaking. So let us understand how public speaking is a skill and how public speaking actually improving public speaking means improving our English speaking skills. So when we actually prepare for public speeches, we follow certain steps when we prepare for those public speeches, and those steps like first planning, second structuring, third preparing an outline, and fourth delivering those speeches. So we will see to be effective public speaker how these 4 steps we are supposed to use and what are the things included in each. So first we need to plan our speech. Second, we need to structure it properly. Then we have to prepare the outline, and then we have to think about delivering that speech. Okay, so let us start with first planning. When you are planning, the contents of your speech and how you are going to deliver it are based on 5 important factors. That is your occasion. When in planning you are doing this, you are thinking about the occasion, that is what is the context, what will be the time of my presentation, of my speech, morning time, afternoon time, evening time, as well as how much time is given for me to talk on, and what other facilities are available. So before you go on speaking, now this is applicable even for teachers as well, because our every lecture is a kind of speaking, is a kind of presentation. So every time we have to think what time, whether it is pre-lunch, post-lunch, morning, evening session, what is the context, that is what is the mentality of those students. Are they in sports mode now? Are they in the social gathering mode? Or are they in the examinations mood? What we have to think, or what all facilities are available in the classroom, in the seminar hall, in the presentation room. We have to think, and then we have to plan our presentations. Audience, when we are planning for the speeches, we have to think about the audience, particularly their size, their number, how many are there, how many of them are going to listen, what is the gender, how many will be male, how many will be female, and so on. What are their positions, like how many of them are managers, how many of them are team leaders, how many teachers will be there, how many HODs will be there. We have to think about their positions, their knowledge level, their attitude, how they are looking at your presentation, the topic of your presentation, and what are their expectations and aims from your presentation. We have to think. Then we have to think on purpose. What is your purpose of giving this speech, this presentation, right? What is that? Is it to inform, give the information, provide the knowledge, or to persuade someone, to convince someone to buy something, to accept your thoughts, to accept your views, or to entertain, or to sell? What is your purpose? And based on that, you have to plan, and you should come up with central idea, a thesis statement, which will run around your main topic. That is, suppose you are talking about some of the things which are very useful in higher education. So you cannot say that XYZ as important in higher education. Instead of that, you can say the importance of having XYZ in 5 different ways. So when you do like this, it becomes central idea. And the material, the resources that you are going to use. Are you going to use handouts? Are you going to use slides? Are you going to use some of the printed material? You should be ready with that. So in planning your speeches, you have to think about these 5 elements. When structuring, you are supposed to structure in this manner. Introduction, it should be catchy. You should grab the attention, and for that you should use quotes, you should use stories, you should use your own experience, you should use anecdotes, you can use the facts, you can use the statements. Anyhow, you have to grab the attention so that the listeners look at you. Then introduce the topic, preview them what you are going to tell them in brief what you are going to see throughout your presentation, your speech, and start with the first point. In introduction, it should happen. The main body, it is nothing but the all points arranged in a logical manner. So how you arrange the main body? It may be in different patterns. First one is chronological pattern, where you add all the information in a chronological manner. For example, you are giving presentation speech on the profile of the organization, a chronological order. Second, you are giving categorical. For example, importance of soft skills. You're talking on importance of soft skills. It will be a categorical arrangement of the points. Like, you are arranging the importance of soft skills and you are categorizing them in different sections and telling. Cause and effect. For example, effects of COVID-19 on businesses. So cause and effect on each different business, you are arranging the main body. And problem and solution. Like nomophobia, addiction to mobile. Your topic is this. So problem, and you are giving solutions. And in conclusion, how you should conclude it? Tell them what you have already told. Means what? You have to summarize in brief. You have to tell the highlights. And if your speech, your presentation was for 10 minutes, you have to just wind up. You have to conclude in 1 minute. And finally, you have to use some closing statements, which will be a kind of thought to take away from your speech to the audience. Then preparing outline. So once you structure it, once you plan it, you can prepare an outline, and it will be a kind of points. It will be a kind of script for you to refer which example, which statistical information you are supposed to give where and that. And then you deliver the speech. So delivery, there are various types, like speaking from notes. Like, most of the type teachers come in the class, they have their notes and they go on explaining. Even the slides right now I'm using, they are also a kind of notes for me. So speaking from notes, you just look at the point and you explain with some examples. Speaking impromptu, that is speaking on your spontaneous. Speaking impromptu is nothing but spontaneous speaking. Sometimes it is reciting from memory. You remember and you recite the quotes, the poems, the stanzas, and so on. That's reciting from your memory. And reading from a manuscript. As it is, you read word by word. Now from all those, speaking impromptu is something challenging, but yes, this is also useful. Speaking from notes is recommended in most of the cases. Reciting from memory, unless you are a very good trained and very experienced speaker, you should not go with this. And reading from manuscript is, when you do not want to make any mistake, like most of our politicians and the responsible authorities like governors of India or the finance minister, and they read from the manuscript, because even a single word change in a single term may change the meaning. So reading from the manuscript. So any of this delivery we go on using. So these are the 4 steps of effective public speaking. We can use them even when we are planning a short speech. We can just think about what are the needs of the audience. You can plan it, structure it properly. You can have something as a notes, and which we would decide the delivery, whether I'm going to speak impromptu on the time or with the help of those notes, or I remember and I will speak, or you want to read as it is from the notes. So that is about public speaking effectively. Now in this public speaking, the biggest problem is in this, let us say, public speaking or speaking in English, the biggest problem is the fear and the stage fright, the fear of stage. Like, we feel stage as if that is a kind of hypnotized area. We remember everything, we prepare very well, we are well prepared, but when we go on the stage and look at the audience, we forget, and we become more anxious, more conscious, and we come down, right? So how to overcome those anxieties or the stage fright particularly? Number one, This is the great technique used by many successful presenters, speakers, motivational speakers, told by them also. That is visualization technique. What is that? What you are supposed to do? Concentrate on how good you are. So when you are well prepared, of course, preparation is the core, preparation is the soul. You have to prepare well, and you have to, when you are well prepared and just stage fright is going to be your problem, what you are supposed to do? Think, just sit idle and visualize how good person you are. Think about all your positive traits. Remember happy moments from your past, your achievements, your happy moments where you were very happy. You remember those, these will create a kind of relief for you. Next, assume that you are just talking to a group of friends. Just assume that you are presenting in front of your own friends and you are communicating with them. You are not teaching, you are not giving what knowledge you have and so on. Just they are friends, and as you communicate with your friends in canteen and in other informal situations, you are communicating with them. And next is very great. Close your eyes and imagine your audience listening you carefully, laughing, applauding, and they are praising you. Like you are on the stage, you are at the center, you are remembering everything, you are giving very good information, you are using humor in between, audience listening very carefully, they are laughing, they are responding to your humor, they are appreciating you, they are praising you, and in that way you are completing your speech, your presentation successfully. Visualize. Most of the effective speakers, if they have to give 40 minutes speech, they visualize themselves giving speech before the event for more than 1 and 1.5 hours. And that is reality. And that the same they do on the stage next day. Next technique is start with happy, friendly faces in the audience. As I have told last time, that there will be 2 to 3% people who would like to distract you. Maybe it is because of their habit. Even they are not conscious that they are distracting you. So avoid them. Start with the happy faces, pleasant faces, the people who are having natural smile on their face and who look friendly to you. Find out, definitely there are more people like that. Find out and start with them as if you are just communicating, presenting to them. This will give you relief. Then involve the audience. So it is better if you are continuously speaking for more time, it is better to involve the audience. Put a question, put a situation, ask for the opinions. Then you will come to know that actually audience are not much aware about the fact and you know better because you are well prepared. Once you get this confidence, you will never have stage fright. And up to what level do you have the stage fright? Just, till you get up and go on the stage and say good morning and my name is this, my topic is this. Up to there, once you get rhythm, once you get flow, stage fright you don't remember. And the stage fright is part of every presenter's life. Everybody has this. So involve the audience, ask them questions, give them tasks, and let them also think and respond. And the next one is deep breathing. I don't know how many of you believe, but yes, having fear is a kind of changes in some of the internal part of our body, and because of which we are actually fearful. So if you go and take deep breathing for 1 or 2 minutes, this will definitely help. Before your speech, take deep breathing. It will definitely give you relief. Even you must have observed that some of the speakers, they also sometimes take a pause and they take deep breathing. So that helps to avoid stage fright. So these are some of the techniques. There are so many actually, but these I shortlisted to tell you because they are very useful and very effective as well. Now, what role non-verbal communication plays in speaking skill, in public speaking skill? I hope you remember we have seen this non-verbal communication, how much part it plays. 93% of our message is conveyed with the help of non-verbal communication, and words play only 7%. Same is applicable to you when you are speaking in front of public. Now in that, what you are supposed to focus? You have to focus on your eye contact, gestures, postures and paralinguistic features. That is, when you are giving speech to someone, when you are speaking, right, your eye contact is very important. Suppose you are giving speech to number of audience, more audience, you have to divide them in sections and look at each section so that everybody feels that you are looking at them and giving the speech. Have the direct and friendly eye contact to everyone and we have seen that it is not staring. You are looking for 3 to 5 seconds and then you are moving to next person. So one sentence, one audience, second sentence, second audience, third sentence, third person from the audience. How this is very effective, and this connects to you with the audience. In case of gestures, there is a one technique known as steeple hand techniques, and this is like this. If you are using your hands, if you are using, use them. If you are not using, you have to use this steeple hand technique, like closing your tip of your all 5 fingers and communicating. You must have observed the leaders most of the time when they are in conversation, they put their hands in this way. They use when needed, and they put in this manner. And usually we have habit of just doing like this, or putting one hand in the another hand, or just doing like this. No, steeple hand is the great technique nowadays used and is recommended for all the leaders, for all the speakers. Observe this steeple hands. Then if you are not using your hands, do not let them go below your waist. They should be above your waist. Use them, otherwise let them be in steeple hands position. Avoid excessive movements from gestures. Avoid excessive hand movements, excessive neck movements as well. Do not fold your hands. Do not put them in pockets. Do not play with pen or anything in your hand. They should be used as a facilitating device for giving the meaning, conveying the meaning, or use them, keep them in this particular manner. From postures, you have to stand on both the legs. This is common problem for a no voice speaker presenter, that unconsciously we are balancing ourselves on one of the feet, alternatively, or we are just going one step ahead, coming one step back, again ahead, back, backward, forward, like this, or 2 steps forward, 2 steps backward, and there is a variety, and you are well observer of that. Deliberately stop at one place, firm on both the legs, and give the presentation. If needed, only you are supposed to move, but that is also, you should move without disturbing the flow of your presentation. Avoid excessive movements, as if you are here it is, walking, not rocking, like standing on both the legs firmly, and you should not rock on the stage, like as if you are running from one side to the another side, from the audience to the stage and so on. No, you should move if needed, but that should not disturb the flow of your presentation speech. And from paralinguistic features, use good voice, loud voice if it is needed. Of course, if it is a larger audience, you should use mic and use loud voice. If they are less in number, no need of using mic. You can just be dependent on your natural volume. The tone, sometimes be rising tone, sometimes use a falling tone, sometimes you just go fast, sometimes you take some rest and give some time for the audience to think. And yes, pauses, the great source of effective public speakers or the presenters. Why? Because look at this statement. Silence or the pause has been called the father of speech. It should be. Too many of our public speeches have no fathers. What is that? The tragedy is there are so many good public speakers, but they are fatherless. That is, they do not take pause. Why pause is needed? Pause is needed, silence is needed for me as a speaker to remember the things, to connect the things, to remember the best connectivity, for you to think on whatever statements I am making. And most of the public speakers, public speeches, they are fatherless. That is, most of the speakers just they go on speaking, no time given, just go on giving the information, and they do not give any chance to the audience to think on. They do not take pauses. No, we should take adequate pauses in between. And for pauses, there are so many good politicians, who are known for their pauses, and almost every politician nowadays is using these pauses, longer pauses between their presentations and speeches. Okay, so let us move ahead. Now, the strategies and techniques of becoming effective public speaker or developing our English speaking skills. These strategies and techniques are the common, which may be applicable everywhere. So, to be effective speaker of English, first we have to be effective listener, reader, writer and thinker. That is to develop your English speaking skill. Listen more, read more, write more, think in English, then you will automatically become effective speaker of English. Second, you must learn to speak by speaking. How will you learn how to swim? By swimming, not by reading the books or not even by the observing the other people swimming. You have to actually get into the well or the river and you have to try, practice. So you must speak by speaking. You can speak with others, you can speak yourself. Thinking aloud is a part of your talking to yourself. Make friends, make groups, decide that you all five will come together and go on speaking. Let me tell you, even my teachers who taught me in the university who are retired, still they have their group, and every day they have their specific time. The group members, they come online on that particular time on their WhatsApp group, and they share the phrases, the new words they learned on that particular day. And they say, I saw this new word and meaning is this, and I used like this, and they go on sharing. The teachers who have retired. Are we trying this? We are supposed to. So create your groups and go on sharing like this. And once you have all those sharing, you can just come someday and you go on a time to meet, decide a time to meet and go on communicating with each other, expressing that. That will help. Then face your audience as frequently as you can. If you are afraid of audience, face the audience. Always go on the stage and speak. Always go in front of your boss, your managers and speak. Always go in front of your teachers and go on speaking in English. So that only is the way, great way to come out of fear of the public. Watch English movies, shows, listen English songs. This is general, I guess you must have heard many times, but watch English movies initially with subtitles and first watch the English movie completely, then watch it with subtitle, and then next time you watch it again without subtitle. You will definitely get more, and you will definitely find some of the words which you know, and automatically will start getting meanings. Now this is great technique. That is most of the time people tell that you should try in front of mirror, but nowadays trying in front of mirror is not, there is more great technique than just trying in front of mirror. That is, you have to record yourself, right? So you just for 1 or 2 minutes, you record in your mobile phone yourself, you go on speaking in English, right? And you record for those 2 to 5 minutes. And then you watch again. Then you will actually come to know what kind of English you are using and what kind of speech you have given, what kind of body language you have used. Right? So recording yourself, record it. First, just listen that for what words you have used. Then, so second time, just mute the phone and watch yourself. Just watch for your body language. And third time, you have to watch it again with voice and your body language. So in that way, you will get complete evaluation of yourself. So next, practice good body language. After observing that, you will come to know what kind of body language you are using. So practice eye contact, practice your gestures, practice good posture, deliberately standing at one particular place and giving the speech and looking at the audience and dividing them in sections and talking. Do not imitate anyone when you are speaking. Be yourself and come up with your own style of speaking. That is the key. And find online platforms and apps. There are so many. Actually, I wanted to give you the list, but Speak English, Fluent You, Fluent Me, Speaking Conversations, BBC English. There are so many. If I tell you one, you will just stick to that. And that may not be applicable to all of you. Like, one shirt does not fit to all. So you find out on your own. There are Fluent You is the one very great platform, but there are so many others as well. You go there and find out. There are so many clubs as well, speaking clubs. You have to go and just find out and join them. If you do not get any of those, find your own group and just create your own platform and go on practicing. You can have Telegram is the great source now. On Telegram, you can just have a channel or the group and you can just go on discussing. There are so many apps as well. Download and use them. Improve your speaking. You will find so many good apps. Try those 2-3 apps. Find which is best for you. Solve all those exercises and other tasks on the apps. And yes, the great thing is, the best thing is, most essential thing is, these 3 P's. If you are well prepared, well practiced, and you are performing in front of mirror or in front of the, let us say, mobile phone, it is going to be very useful. So prepare well, practice in advance, and perform at least in front of your family members, your friends, or at least in front of mobile. Record it and see how you are giving. And the end is, now when are you going to start speaking in English? Effectively, I'm saying, of course, we are delivering the lectures. When are you going to actually start being effective? Now. You have to start now. This will be your first step, second step, third step. Anyhow, you cannot say that I will go and look at the apps, then I will search and then I'll find. Whenever you get the opportunity, from now, you are supposed to start. And I hope you will do this. With this, let me conclude this session, this program, by this very encouraging quote, very relieving quote, that is, all great speakers were bad speakers at first. Because they started on the right time, they are great speakers. You cannot say that I will prepare from all aspects and will immediately one day become a great speaker. No, you have to go through all the phases. And this is very powerful. All the great speakers were bad speakers at first. Initially, they have made the mistakes. They have forgotten. They were also afraid of. They were frightened. Right? They were not able to give it effectively, but how they, because of the practice and continuity, they have become great speakers. So this is the end of day 5, session 6, and the activity. Again, I have kept it very easy. Read more on speaking skill at this particular FluentTube blog, how to improve English speaking skills. It is very useful. Go to this, you will find it useful. And watch any one TEDx talk on public speaking. There are so many. Again, actually, I found 5 to 6 good talks. If I get those back, I will definitely give the link in the description section. But you simply go on YouTube and just search for public speaking TED talk or a TEDx talk. And you will find, just choose which is more watched and watch that. You will definitely find that useful. It will give you some additional information which I may have missed here. These are some of the reference books which I have referred for my presentation, and of course these are the websites which have helped me to collect the information. Thank you very much. With this, let me end session 6 of day 5, and this is the end of the program. See you tomorrow in live session where we will discuss about the doubts that you have about any of the sessions that we have completed so far. Come up with your doubts. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending this session. Thank you for attending the whole program. And happy learning. Keep learning, keep progressing, and let's stay connected to grow together. See you.